Welcome back to Carpentry College. So today we are doing a range of housing joints. So here I have an example of a range of housings that you would find you could use it for basically housings we use when we're making a door frame, like similar to this one actually. So this is not a door frame, a door lining, beg your pardon. This is a door lining. This is a type of housing. This is a bare-faced trench housing, this is called. And we would incorporate that within a door lining. But I'm going to show you various types of housings that we can produce. But the main one can be a bare-faced trench housing that we see here. So this is my typical door lining, head, jamb, the door itself. This actually is sitting on some rising butts. So rising butts, that means it rises up as it opens out. So this is a typical type of scenario that you can incorporate a house in. So this is one of them. Okay. So for this task that I'm going to show you, which is a series of housing, so one of them will be a lat, a through, a shouldered housing, a stopped housing joint, a bare-faced stopped trench housing, and then this is a through bare-faced trench housing, this one here. And I'm going to show you here, so they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and so on. And there are various, you can do various components or various details. So this is the lat, this is the through, this is what they call the shouldered. You can't really see this one, but it's going to be a stopped housing. This one is going to be a bare-faced trench housing, which is here. But you don't see, it doesn't actually come right way through here, but it does on this one. So this one also is called a bare-faced trench housing joint. So these are 6 I will be doing, but they'll be varied in their design, put it that way. Right, so number 1 is the lat. This is a through housing. This is a shouldered housing. This is a stopped housing. Okay, and then this one is a bare-faced, what we call bare-faced stopped trench housing. And this is a through bare-faced trench housing joint. Okay, so what I'm deciding now is basically the spacing for each space is going to be as equal as I can get it. So the actual piece is 500 long, 500 millimeters long. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 divisions, all varying divisions. They're 20 mil in thickness. So if we do the maths now, so it's 500 millimeters long. You have five individual pieces, which are 20 mil, right? And there's 6 of them, so 6 times 20 is 120. Take away the overall length, which is 500. So 120 minus, take away 120 from 500 is 380. Okay, 380, and then 380 you've got left, divided by how many we have. So divided by 5 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 380 divided by 5, which gives us 76 millimeters between each between the spaces of 76 millimeters. Very odd number, 76 mil in between each individual piece, 76 millimeters. So let's bear that in mind. Okay, so now I'm going to do what we call a running total, where I'm going to, in sequence, run add up as I'm going along. Now, do you remember when I said that the spacings here are 76 millimeters? Now, for my own purposes, I'm going to call it, make it 75, only because it's easier for me to add up as I'm doing this running total. That's the reason for me dropping down a mil and rounding it to 75 instead of 76. Okay, so I'll start from one end. This is what I've worked out, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the running total as we speak. So I'm going to start from here. So first of all, before I carry on, I haven't really done my face side, face edge mark I normally do. So I'm going to have one of those like that. And so then I'm going to start measuring. So I'm going to 20 mil. So 20 mil is the thickness of the material. This is 20 mil thick. So we've got 20 plus 75 is 95. So let's mark that there. Plus 20, which is the thickness of the material, gives us 115. And then plus 20, so, plus 75 to 115 gives us 190. 190 plus 20 is 210. 210 plus 75 again will be 285. 285 plus 20 is 305. 305 plus 75 gives us 380. 380 plus 20 is 400. 400 plus 75 is going to be 475, of course. And then we have 20. So then we add 20 to 475 is going to give us 495, which is there. So my piece of wood is slightly longer than 500, but that doesn't matter. All it matters is that you do the running total as I say it, because it makes it easier to add up. And why we do running totals is to make it accurate. So each and every individual piece is already being allocated, marked, added, and you can't go wrong if you do a running total. Anything you do, that has to be continuously gone up a piece of timber. So what I'm going to do now is start squaring across 8 mil. There we are, 8 mil. Yeah, so I'm going to be coming down here 8 mil like that. Okay, so with my single pin marking gauge. Each component, or each joint, I'm just going to mark a series of reference lines, really. So just marking it down here so you can see. So number 4, you're right, I could mark number 4. The stop trench housing, yeah, we could mark that there. I'll just mark all the positions here actually. So mark that there. Right, just going to mark the front there, mark that. So also I can do the back as well. So to make that more, so I'm just going to mark the back there. So these first two are quite easy. So this has been set to 8 mil. So all I'm literally going to do is gauge, and I'm going to gauge from my face side. See my face side marks. I'm going to mark that, put that mark there, and just gauge there. Yeah, this is what I'm going to do, and I can still gauge the ends. I can do 2 in one hit. One. This is the lat, and this is the through. So let's turn this on its end, along the end grain. So let's go through there like that. So this one here, number 3. This is the shouldered one. So this shoulder depth here, in this case, is going to be, I'm going to do 3 mil in, because this wants to be as big as possible. 3 mil is probably just enough for that, because it's 20 mil thick. So what I'm going to do here is come in 3 mil either side. So 3 mil here. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, that's 3 there. Okay, I'm going to just square that through. So just going to square, actually, yeah. So this shouldered housing goes right the way through, actually. So I have to square both sides. So I'm going to just mark that from there to there. So the next one I'm going to mark is the stopped housing. So all I need to do is just square these lines down here. So I won't need to mark this side, just mark one side, because it's only stopping to here. So the stop, where it stops, I'm just going to come in. There's no rule here, so I can stop in 5 mil, but in this case I'm going to make it 10 mil. I'm going to stop in 10 mil from the front. This is my front. Okay, so let me just square that line down there. So we're just going to do that. So I'm going to put that there. So I'm just going to get a line. Yeah, so I'm just going to mark my stock housing, which is here. So that's going to be there like that. So this is where, this is going to be cut out, right? So it's going to be 8 mil deep, the depth of that. So my next job is the stopped bare-face trench housing. So again, it's going to be stopped like this one, same line as that one. So if I continue that line across, yeah, that's going to work. So I'm just going to stop that there. Right, so I'm going to make this 8 mil. So it's 8 mil out, and then it's going to be 8 mil deep. Right, so it's going to be like that. So it's going to stop. It's going to be there like this. So this is going to come out like that. And here like that. So I've just got to square the back of it here. And then again use my gauge, face side. So that's going to come out there like that. So that's that one. And then another. So this is our bare-faced through trench housing. So we're just gonna do that. Through there like that. The same there. The same there. one. So that one's ready, marked. This one's marked so far, so it's all good. So now I'm going to cut these pieces here and mark from 1 to 6 all the individual parts that is going to go in these spaces. So the height of these, because it's an example to show you different ranges of housings, it could be any size. So I'm going to just measure what I've done already. So just say, right, so I've done numbers 80mm long. So I'm going to cut from another piece of timber, which is 500 long. These are going to be 80mm in their height. About to, finishing off the last cut, or the last one of these uprights, which is 80mm high. All right, I'm just going to mark that one there. So again, as you slow through the end, and slow up with the cut, nice and slow. I'm just going to tidy up the end grain because I want it nice and flat on my shooting board here. Right, so this move from there to here on my shooting board using my low angle plane. So it's low angle because this angle is going to be no more than between between 8 and 12 degrees. This is how this plane blade is being set. So I'm able to plane that end grain without it splitting out. Obviously, I've got these little stops that stops that. So I'm just tweaking up the rough end of it. If you look, it's a bit rough. Yeah, I want that nice and smooth. So first of all, I better bring out the blade a little bit more. So if I undo so that is nice and square. That's what we want, because we're going to do a series of cuts, maybe that to sit into our other piece of timber like that. So, I'm going to mark each one as they are going to, as made. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right, so but one by one. Right, so nothing needs to be done to that because that's going to sit into that, so that's done. Nor does that one, nothing needs to be done to that. Now this one has to have a detail. I need to come in here 3mm, and then I'm going to set my cutting gauge 8mm, the depth of that, and I'm going to gauge or use the cutting gauge going across it. So that's the one I'm going to do at number 3. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to set up a single pin marking gauge to go across here 3mm, and a cutting gauge 8mm to go across the grain. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to set those two up right now. Right, so Single pin marking gauge, 3 mil. 3 mil, there we go, 3 mil. There's 3 mil. And then with a cutting gauge, I need it to be 8 mil. So just go to too much. Now, one way of really making sure that I've got it set right, I'll just move those here like that, is if I go to there, right, so there, that's going to be spot on. So just making sure, put a little bit in there. Yeah, there. Okay, so number 1's there, number 2, this is 3. So 3, again, I'm going to gauge. Now the other thing I haven't done here is my so-called face mark, face edge mark. So I'm going to do that now, just mark that face side, face edge, yeah, face side, face edge, face side, face edge, that one there, face side, face edge there, face side, face edge there, and face side, face edge there. These are all reference when it comes to marking out. So now a question was asked, why can't I use the single pin marking gauge going across this way? The reason I can't use a single pin marking gauge going across the grain, because it would tear it. So this is why we use a cutting gauge that goes across it. It cuts across the grain, hence what I've got here, cutting gauge. And that's the reason that I can't use a single pin marking gauge across the grain. Okay, so, right, let's make sure I'm right. So 3 mils in, so it's like 3 mil. So I'm just going to gauge there through there like that. 1, from each side, 2 like that. Okay, so now I use a cutting gauge just so that I can score across the grain. Now, so I'm just going to highlight right, shadowing where that is. So I'm going to go across the grain with my cutting gauge going like so. So just really basically knifing it across the grain, knifing the actual shouldered housing across the grain there like that. Just So the fourth one is going to be, obviously, a stopped housing. So I just need to come down again, 8 mil here. So that's how I've got my cutting gauge set up. I can just score that across there, like that. 10 mil in. So this one's quite straightforward. So that comes out there. That's going to come out there like that. So this is going to sit in there like so. Like that. Okay, so that's bare face trench housing. So I'm going to gauge. I'm going to use the marking gauge here. So it's going to be set to 8 mil here. So let's set this to 8 mil. Do that now. So 8 mil. Yeah, 8 mil. So let's make sure I get it so it's going to be right. So if I hold this in place, okay, so at the front of here, I'm going to come in 10 mil. So that's where it's going to stop, this bare face trench housing. And with the same rulers again, it's only going down 8 mil deep. So I can use my cutting gauge again because it's going across the grain. So just knife that across the grain there. So the same there. And then if you look at that, so I'm keeping this bit and all this is going to get removed, all of this here, which is a through trench housing joint. So all I've got to do is gauge all the way through there, right, and then go across the grain again with the cutting gauge. So I'm going to do that now. Everything's all marked out now, ready for the process of producing 1 to 6.